When we looked at their accounts, after ads, fulfillment, fees, staff and tax, they'd paid themselves less than minimum wage for the year. And they just looked at me and said, how is that even possible? I was speaking with an eCom merchant just this week, and it was really them who inspired me to record this episode. We were looking at our business and making plans for how we could level up when we got to profit. That's when she told me that she hadn't paid herself in 6 months. So today we're going to tackle why so many eCom brands fail at profit and how you can get it right. Welcome to Clicked Off, the place for e-commerce merchants who want growth without the guesswork. I'm Jason Chappell, founder of Defiant and creator of e-commerce growth made easy. I've helped countless brands grow from 0 to over 50 million. And here's what I've learned. Profitable growth doesn't happen by accident. And if you've ever looked at your sales and thought, we're selling more than ever, so why does it feel like there's nothing left at the end of the month? This one's for you. Now, having worked with brands at every stage, no matter what the size, I see the same patterns over and over. Brands focus on revenue. They obsess over sales numbers. They celebrate hitting 6 figures a month. But when you dig into the numbers, they're broke. Last year, I worked with a founder who just hit 2 million in revenue for the first time. It was a huge milestone, right? But when we looked at their accounts, after ads, fulfillment, fees, staff and tax, they'd paid themselves less than minimum wage for the year. And they just looked at me and said, how is that even possible? So today, we're fixing that. If you're ready to build a profit-first budget, track the right numbers, and finally feel like the business is paying you properly, stick with me. Today, we're going to cover how to build a profit-first budget, the key metrics you need to watch when pursuing profit, and how to keep growing your store without sacrificing profitability. Because here's the truth. You don't have to choose between growth and profit forever. But if profit is the goal right now, you need a different approach than if you were scaling for revenue. So let's be clear. When you budget for profit, you're prioritizing sustainability. This isn't about wild swings in ad spend or aggressive land grabs. Instead, it's about tight control over your numbers and ensuring every customer you acquire contributes positively to your bottom line. And that starts with 3 key metrics. Customer lifetime value, how much profit you make from each customer over their lifespan. Your customer lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. So how much profit you make from a customer over their entire lifetime versus how much it cost you to acquire them in the first place. And your customer churn rate, the percentage of your customers who just don't come back. Let's pause on churn for a second, because this one's big. I worked with a supplement brand that looked incredible on paper. Big social following, amazing packaging. Their ads were converting like crazy, but at a loss. And they were banking on customers coming back to place a second order. They even had a subscription set up, so figured they were good on the retention front. But when we checked, 85% of those subscribers cancelled their subscription after the first order once they'd taken advantage of the subscription discount incentive and never came back. The brand were literally throwing money into the fire every time they made a sale. That is why churn matters. Retention isn't a nice to have. It's the difference between profit compounding every month or living paycheck to paycheck. So while acquisition is important, retention is your secret weapon. Now, let's take a look at what profitable actually looks like. Here's a simple way to think about it. You're profitable if you're acquiring customers at a cost that allows you to cover all of your expenses. Your conversion rate is steady, and customers are spending enough, either per order or over time, to keep that margin healthy. If any of those wobble, your profit wobbles with it. And this is exactly why you need to track these numbers really closely. Profit isn't one magic metric. It's the result of a system working properly. Efficient acquisition, strong retention, and controlled costs. So how do you keep that system on track? I like to use what I call profit guardrails. And here's how you can keep yourself in check. Set a target customer acquisition cost. This is what you can afford to spend to bring in a new customer and stay profitable. Know your break-even customer acquisition cost. This is the line you never want to cross. Above this, you're losing money. Work out your marketing efficiency ratio, or MER. It's your revenue divided by total marketing spend. Forget platform ROAS. That's always inflated. MER shows you how hard your entire marketing budget is working. So let's look at how you can structure your budget. Even without a detailed spreadsheet, you can map this out. Start with your profit target. Decide how much profit you want to take home each month or quarter. List out your fixed costs like rent, salaries, software, agencies, anything you pay regardless of how many sales you make. Estimate your customer acquisition costs. Look at what you're paying now to acquire customers and how many customers you need to hit your revenue goals. Factor in retention. If 40% of your customers buy again, that's less pressure on acquisition. But if retention's low, acquisition has to pick up the slack, and that is where profit gets squeezed. Set a realistic monthly ad spend. Base this on what you can sustain while still covering fixed costs and paying yourself. Look, there are, however, a few pitfalls, and this is when most brands slip up when budgeting for profit. They focus on gross margin instead of net profit. They pull back on marketing completely during slow months, forgetting that consistent presence fuels long-term sales. They ignore churn, spending big to win new customers while losing the ones they already have. Instead, I suggest keep spending steady, but adapt your campaigns. If you're having a slow month, shift from hard selling to growing your email list or building brand awareness. This is how you keep the pipeline warm without burning too much cash. And what happens when you take this approach is you sleep better at night because you know every sale is contributing to your bottom line. You build cash reserves instead of running hand to mouth. And perhaps most importantly, you create the space to reinvest when the right opportunities pop up. Because when you've built profitability into your budget, you have the confidence and cash to scale up when you're ready. So here's the takeaway. If you want to budget for profit, track customer lifetime value, customer acquisition cost, your churn rate, and your retention rate relentlessly. Keep your marketing efficient. Don't panic if some months dip. Look at the bigger picture. And remember, growth driven by profit is slower, but it's stronger and more sustainable. If you want to go deeper into this and get help mapping out these numbers step by step, I teach all of this inside my e-commerce growth made easy community on School. The link is in the show notes. And if today's episode hit home, share it with a fellow founder, subscribe, and don't miss the next one. Now go review your numbers set that profit first budget, and finally feel like your business is paying you, not the other way around.